being a founder is lonely. It's terrifying. You wake up and you have a P&L and you got to feed people. You got to have health insurance. Take out the whole, like, I just took millions of dollars from someone, I'm supposed to pay it back. You're asking people to quit their jobs to come work with you and join you on this like crazy mission. You're gonna fight. You have to fight. The goal is to have like non-conventional approaches. If you're gonna be in venture, it's a slugfest. There's gonna be tension. There's gonna be tears. It is not nearly as romantic as it looks on Twitter. It's surely not nearly as romantic as it looks like at YC.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
So I guess before we start off, I wanted to kick off with a quick intro about you as well.
Sure.
But for our listeners, Josh has been an entrepreneur. He's been a founder, exited 2 successful startups, worked at a little known company back then. I think back then it was called Facebook or something.
It was called The Facebook.
Okay, even further back,
Yeah.
The Facebook. And then now he's running a very successful VC fund called Oceans Ventures, based right here in New York. Excited to have you.
Thanks for coming.
Anything that I missed in your intro?
No, I mean, I think that for me, the thing that I think about when like people ask me like what I do, I am an entrepreneur, and it manifests over the the course of my life through a lot of different chapters.
Yeah.
But it's always been a non-traditional, slightly contrarian bet on me, rightly or wrongly. I mean, the good news is that I've had a pretty good track record, but part of the track record is falling down and getting back up.
Yeah.
And endurance. I mean, I think that's the other part that gets lost in, the romance of startup life is that it's an endurance play. I mean, I was at Facebook for 9 years. I joined in 2007. They were already 3 years old.
Oh, that's still so tiny.
Tiny. I mean, tiny. I mean, in some of our portcos, like when they were like, well, it's not going fast enough. I'm like, listen, like not for nothing. It took close to 9 years to go public at Facebook. And like it took close to 4 years to go from being a college site to a non-college site.
Yeah.
Like that's like 1,200 days, which I say that because I think a lot of founders live in days. Like I don't think like OKRs are a funny little thing that like bring your world to like a quarterly window, but like for you to be successful in OKR, you have to have like 12 of them. And I don't think that is internalized a lot by people in startups. And I don't think it's also talked about. I mean, I think we're in an interesting time where people are like quote unquote job hopping and like job mercenaries. And I think those people are they may make cash on the front, but I just think endurance pays massive multiples.
I think like even these days, I feel like I see a lot of posts of, the triple double doesn't make sense anymore. Are you making $100 million? And then like I feel like the expectations of short terms and like the pressures feel like it's like much higher.
I just don't think it's real.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just think like if you want fake news, that's all fake news. Like it's just not real. I mean, there's always going to be a lottery ticket owner.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be I sold all these NFTs and then I ran and hid in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's not venture. That's just like hit and run.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, there's people that are great at that. But I don't think that's the industry that people are joining when they join a tech startup. And I just don't think that's real. That's like more finance.
Yeah. Or sometimes luck.
There's always luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I get in a lot of trouble for being like, I'm the luckiest person you know. Be like, oh, you make your own luck. I'm like, no. Like, there's like a serious dose of luck in this whole game. And But I think there is some truth to the make your own luck. I think it's, I have 3 children and I'm always just like, stay by the goal. Like, always put yourself out there, pay it forward, build your network. No one wins on their own. No one, any of these triple, blah, blah, blah. No one did it themselves, right? And like, so just always build your network, be kind, and stay by the goal. I mean, like, just those to me, if like you just keep doing that over time, you make luck.
Yeah.
Or you get luckier.
Yeah. It's actually crazy too. Like you mentioned endurance, like going from multiple companies, going from Facebook. I think I saw you join when it was like 20 million users to like 1.5 billion when you left. I'm like, that must have been insane. And even on like the Ocean side, you're just saying that you're still traveling a lot, going to exactly where all the founders and partners are.
Yep.
Your level of endurance is like insane.
Well, I am far from an endurance athlete. I'm an endurance business person, right? I mean, like just this past week, I went from sitting in an investor's office to sitting in a food court at Harvard meeting with founders. Like, you don't win deals, you don't build trust on Zoom, and you don't do it. I don't. Yeah. I'm not good at doing it on Zoom. I am an in real life person, and I think, my respect for founders is hard to even put into words. Like, the best founders could stop and go work at one of the Magnificent Seven companies and make $500 to $1 million a year. Yeah. But they're like, no, I have a mission, and I'm going to like eat ramen, and I'm going to work 18 hours a day for me. And I'm probably not going to make more than 150 grand for the foreseeable future. I'm not saying we should canonize them and make them superheroes, but like they deserve respect. Yeah. And me getting off my ass and going to see them, to me, is just a little hat tip to like, I respect what you're doing, whether it's good or bad, or you're going to hit it or not. Like, you're donating your life to a mission. I should come see you. Wow. I don't know. I believe in respect. Come from a kind of an immigrant family. Like, respect's an important thing.
No, I can feel how like truly genuine that is. Like,
and it's not just me; it's our team.
Yeah.
I mean, we're Oceans is an interesting. I mean, the ocean. I mean, you asked me before, like, what's the ocean's name?
Yeah.
Like, how did it get there? I think the thing that's interesting is, I actually was just sitting with one of my life mentors, this gentleman named Mike Lazaro. Laz and I worked together with his wife, Cass, Mike, and this guy, Jeff Raghavan. They were the first real, like, when I joined Facebook, that was a whole crazy thing. But, like, when I went, there was a cottage industry outside, and Buddy Media was one of them. And Mike and Cass and Jeff sold Buddy for, I think, $750 million to Salesforce. And, like, that to me was, like, Mount Rushmore. Like, y'all are doing something that I candidly, I joined Facebook. I was the 220th, whatever number employee, but they were 1, 2, and 3. And like, that is a whole different animal. And I learned a lot from them. And I left Facebook in 2016 for some pretty serious personal reasons. I needed to like just get healthier. I had been traveling for 9 years. I mean, this is not a new, like, Josh being in multiple cities is not new. Josh doing it healthier, very new.
Nice.
But I wanted to take time to rebuild my body, my time at home. And after about 6 months, realized how much I missed the team, my team, the team around me, the intellectual capital around me, the inspiration, people saying things that like people would have told them they're ludicrous. It just wasn't, I wasn't finding that at like in my world.
Yeah.
And so I said that to Mike, and he's like, it's time to go back. Like, he's like, just, and there's all these like cute Adam Grant things that you see on Instagram and LinkedIn, but like basically he made me make a chart of things. On the left were things that I was bad at, on the right things I was good at, up top things I loved, and on the bottom things I didn't like.
It's very like Ikigai-esque. Yeah.
And he was like, just take as many meetings as you can and commit to only talking about the top right quadrant. This is what I love, this is what I'm good at. And just tell people that, and then just say to them, now react. And what was interesting was that people paid it forward. They're like, you should not be doing this. You should be doing this. Have you thought of this? And I'm like, absolutely not. If I had thought of that, I wouldn't come see you. But one of them was Steven Rosenblatt. And I had known Steven since the late 90s. We were both in the dot-com era. And, the dot-com era in the 90s in New York was a cocktail table. There were 20, 30 of us. It didn't exist. We were all told, go to the Valley. That's where tech is. And actually, there's a bigger community in Boston, coming out of Harvard and MIT, but it's more like biotech and more hardware-ish. But like the New York community was tiny. So I went to Steven and I said, like, top right, bottom, like these are the things. And he laughed at me. And I was like, why are you? That's not nice. That's a little rude.
Wait, what were in the thing? What were some?
So I like torque. I love people. I love seeing the future. Like, I love being in the future. And that's a whole other podcast about like, candidly, just like grew up in a house where A lot of the things that I thought were stable weren't, and the carpet got pulled out. So in that world, I built this need and ability to kind of live a little bit 6 to 12 to 18 to 24 months out, just for safety purposes.
Like security.
Yeah, just I need to know what's coming so that I don't get smoked. Wow. And that skill became a superpower and an energy source. .com, ludicrous. Why would you do that? Like, that's crazy. I mean, why would you go? I mean, I remember there was a very a dear friend who was also a mentor for a long time. I haven't spoken to him a bit, but he said to me, only a schmuck goes to work for a tech company in New York.
Damn.
Go to the Valley.
Yeah.
I properly remind him of that every time I speak to him. But, like, he wasn't wrong. You just needed endurance, and you needed to build a community. I mean, New York took 25 years to be where we are today.
Yeah.
And there are now more tech workers in New York than there are finance workers. And I pause on that a lot because people are like, there is no way that is the case. And I'm like, anywhere south of 34th Street, east, west, you name it, from Hoboken to, Bed-Stuy, there are more tech workers grinding today than there are literally in downtown San Francisco. So just to watch that build and to have that relationship with Steven, and have literally just to kind of and we've been doing these lunches every 4 to 6 months for close to 10 years. And he's like, it's our time. And I'm always like, I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? And he's like, look, for the last 6 years, and he at the time had already sold his company to Apple, and he had survived. There's a couple interesting stories about Quattro being bought by Steve Jobs, and but he had survived that, and that is street cred to me. If you can go in there, and Steve was a pretty aggressive buyer, and he never bought any software companies. They did it, they thrived in it. Steven then proceeded to open the Apple office in New York.
Wow.
And that to me, I was like, good on you. And he's very detailed in the venture world, which we'll come back to. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, Steven, what do you mean? And he's like, look, I've been thinking about this for years. There's really, you can count on one hand, operator-led VCs in New York. And I said, I don't want to be a VC.
You said that.
I said, I've worked with enough founders. I've mentored enough founders. I don't really like VCs.
Oh.
I think the game is unhealthy. I think people market to investors, not to founders. I felt like I was seeing, as I was advising founders and as Steven was advising, that founders were being told things by VCs that were just trying to get their deal marked up so they could raise their next fund.
Ugh.
And as an operator, most of that insight was unhealthy. And I said, I don't want to be that person. He said, well, what if we could be the person that founders really want? And then he said, and then he baited me because he's known me. He said, well, what if we can just be a little disruptor? And I was like, all right, now I'm back. So we spent about a year trying to figure out what we were going to do. And this thing came up to me. I was watching a movie with my kids, and it was Ocean's 12. And I'm looking up at the screen, and I say to my kids, stop the movie. And they're like, no. I mean, they're kids, right? And I'm like, just shh. I'm like, it's my house. Shut up and stop.
It's my moment right now.
Yeah, I have a thought. And my oldest son, was oldest, said, what do you mean? And I said, look, I miss my team. I want to get my team back together. I want to build Oceans, where everybody's exceptional at what they do. And nobody in that franchise works for the salary, they work for the ticket sales. You couldn't pay all of those actors to show up at a set without $100 million.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even show up. Why did they do it? They did it because they wanted to work together. You could see in their faces how much fun they're having. I mean, those clips still live on, and they're authentic. And they all get paid on the ticket sales. And my daughter's like, what are we doing? And I was like, she's like, are we robbing banks, Dad? And I'm like, no, we're not robbing banks. And I said, put the movie back on. And I texted Mike Lazzaro. Yeah. And I told him, and to this day, he calls me Elliot. He calls me Elliot Gould. I'm like, not Brad Pitt? He's like, you're more of a robe guy. I'm like, okay. But that's how Ocean started. Yeah. It was this concept that we were going to all be exceptional at what we do. We're going to trust each other. And more importantly, we're going to have fun. Yeah. We're going to have endurance. We're going to support each other. And we're going to do crazy things. So that's how Steven and I kind of were like, okay, what does the team look like? And what are we going to do? authentically do? And we went down to first principles. What are the 3 things that founders need? Chapter 1. Because most founders are in the business of raising their first check.
Yeah.
And a lot of that falls, the details are like, we'll deal with that after. So, first principles. Founders need capital. Great. All VCs give capital. Some give better capital than the other. What makes good capital for founders? 1, help them recruit. Like really talent. There is no company that goes public that is not littered with the greatest of talent.
Yeah.
Okay, talent. Check. Next, go to market. Got it. And 3rd, you need to understand the venture game. I mean, we just sat with a founder who raised hundreds of millions of dollars and walked away with nothing because he didn't understand his cap table and he had predatory VCs. It was terrible. If those are the 3 things that we were going to offer to founders, we would get the best deals. That was our premise. So Steven had built the Foursquare team. He had left Apple to go partner with Dennis Crowley at Foursquare, which is a bit of a New York legend. And he had been in the boardroom with Albert Wenger and Fred Wilson from Union Square. It was Andreessen Horowitz's first check in New York, if you can believe it.
Wow.
And so he was in the boardroom with Ben Horowitz, and he's got Bijan from Spark. I mean, this is the Hall of Fame board team, but those guys were hemorrhaging money. And to Steven's credit, he was like, the board isn't asking us how we're going to turn the negative to a positive. So Steven was like, he's like, look, I built a great team in New York. I know how to hire, and across his career, he probably hired 100 people of the top engineers and people. But his specialty was venture. I was fortunate enough to have built what I think is the greatest monetization team in the history of tech. But I didn't do it alone. I did it with a gentleman named Glenn Handler. Glenn Handler was Sheryl Sandberg's head of recruiting. When she came over from Google, she brought in Kristen Neville Manning, who then brought in Glenn. Glenn was like, if you think of recruiting, he was all things non-Zuck. So before he was at Google, he had launched Google APAC, Google LATAM, predominantly engineering. And then Sheryl brought him and said, I want you to do non-eng. You know, Glenn's pretty humble, but I think he's hired close to 7,000, 10,000 people. And when he left Facebook, he had 220 recruiters working for him. What does that mean? Glenn knows people. Glenn knows top talent. Glenn's attrition rate was like less than 1%. So you have Glenn, who's like super serving talent, saying to a founder like, look, like we don't do recruiting, we don't do your work, but we're just going to teach you how to think about it and to answer the existential questions that you're having about levels. And I need this person for today, but this, like, what's that? Like, the art of people makes or breaks a tech startup, makes or breaks any company.
Yeah.
You know, one bad person in an early stage startup, company goes out of business.
Yeah.
So like, how do you navigate that? And, you know, to this day, Glenn, Steven, and I do interview loops for founders weekly, if not daily. So there's the people lane. I was a go-to-market person at Facebook. My role out of the gate was, you know, when I interviewed with Mark, he was like, they're telling me to make money. Do you know how to make money?
No way. It was at that point.
And I was like, I don't know anything about what you're doing. And I was very sincere. I was like, look, like, I've never been in a building with this caliber of IQ. Full stop. Like, it's like, you know, you walk into the, you know, an NBA game and you're like, I'm the shortest person by a lot. And I walked in there and I was like, this is a whole level of IQ and productivity I'd never seen before. And I just said to Mark, look, I've spent the last 30 years of my life making money from nothing. I commit to you that I will work as hard or harder than anybody you've ever seen, and I will figure out how to help you make money. And he was like, great, welcome aboard. So I joined a very small team, but my role was to sit with the engineering group that were like coming up with these slightly ludicrous ideas and helping them turn them into marketable products. That today is now called go-to-market. Everything from virtual gifts that don't exist anymore to the first algorithmic AI newsfeed that was built by Sircon and Sam Lessin. Like, those guys were like, we're going to stop refreshing a website and we're going to force the planet to have opposable thumbs that just can scroll. And this is even before mobile. I mean, newsfeed was an algorithmic content play on the desktop. How does one even turn that into a monetizable experience? So I would fly up probably every other Monday, months at a time, New York to San Francisco. I had kids. I'd wake up at 6 in the morning. I'd be in SFO's office, in the Palo Alto office by 10:15. I'd stay pretty much 48 hours straight and get on a red eye and come home. And I did that for years.
You're commuting from New York?
every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, but Monday to Wednesday, because I had kids and I didn't want to miss. I didn't want to miss anything.
That's dedication.
So you're looking at a 20% less fat Josh, but like that was not healthy, but it was awesome. And my role there was go to market. How do we take the newsfeed and make it a newsfeed? How do you go public and get the crap kicked out of you? Go from a $30 a share at IPO down to 18, and the market says if you don't figure out mobile, we're just going to pound you in the public marketplace.
Yeah.
So then it's just sitting with the engineering team and turning the mobile product to. I will never forget Mark doing an all hands saying we are a mobile first company. I'm sitting in Palo Alto. At that time it was Menlo Park. And I looked at my phone and I remember saying to the person next to me, he expects us to be bigger than the Super Bowl. And they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just know Mark well enough. He doesn't understand TV. He thinks the phone is the future. We have to go figure this out. So like just sitting on the forefront of like what that looks like. And then I would go back and say to Glenn, okay, I convinced Pepsi to do this, or I try, we have a beta tester here and there. I need 50 head count. And he would laugh. Glenn and I danced this dance for like close to 10 years. He's like, how about I give you 3? There were a bunch of expletives, and he's like, go call Cheryl. I'm like, don't do that. Like, don't throw the Cheryl card at me. Like, okay, great. And like that rigor and discipline around, okay, I found product market fit.
Yeah.
How do I scale it, and how do I scale the human capital? Really is just the rinse and repeat that we do with our founders at Oceans. And I did that virtual gifts, which is a whole other animal, which is hilarious, to newsfeed, to mobile, to a couple things you've never heard of, including like things like the Facebook phone. I spent a year of my life working on that with a woman, Preeti, who's now out west, and Chamath, building this phone in a building that no one knew Facebook even owned.
Oh wow!
So like just doing these things, and I would say that I got celebrated and rewarded for my biggest failures, because Facebook's whole like move fast and break things was real. Eventually they went from move fast and like don't break people or whatever the sign changed to, but like early stage you have to move fast, you have to make mistakes, you have to be on a great team, and you have to scale. Those stories were the premise of what made Oceans. Glenn does people, I do go to market, Steven does venture. And then we have Brian and Sarah on the team who are exceptional in their lanes in finance and operations. But for us, we are a team of people that give our founders whatever they need to be successful. We don't do the work, we coach them through it, we bring our network. Somewhere between the people that we've hired, our LPs, our investors, and our partners, and I would call them mentors, they've created close to $3 to $5 trillion worth of market cap. Any founder can, we were just talking about a founder, like I introduced them to the head of Cody, close friend and investor. That's what we do. We try and bring our network to bear because it's a sum of the parts, and we think that founders deserve more. Yeah. So that was kind of the premise of Oceans.
Wow. There's so much to that I've never even heard of. Wow, I can't believe you're working that closely with the go-to-market, the monetization piece, which I heard like Mark was initially like, he didn't even want to do.
Hated it. Yeah, that's why I brought in Cheryl. Literally when when Cheryl came in, a lot of people were frazzled. Like, what's her role? And like Mark looked out at us and was like, you don't want me in a Procter & Gamble, Verizon. I don't talk marketer.
Yeah.
I get why people want, but like you need someone that is senior, that has unfettered trust, and can command the respect of the client at my level. And oh yeah, by the way, I freaking hate that stuff. At the time, Mark was 23.
Wow.
So he's just like, and it's an interesting discussion that we have with our founders. Like, what's your return on caloric usage? Like, when do you give up founder-led sales?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, there's a period where founder-led sales is fascinating, right? You're understanding what the client wants. You understand what the client doesn't want. At a certain point, you should not be in the room with the client.
Yeah.
It's just unhealthy for you, and it's unhealthy for the business, because most of our founders are technical co-founders or product people. Like, go build a product, go build a team, then go hire a salesperson.
Yeah, and play to your strengths.
Get the hell out of the way. Oceans, everybody on the team has to be exceptional at their lane. There are very few co-founders that are exceptional sellers and product people and tech people and recruiters. Like it's not common. As I say that, I could think of 4 or 5 founders that are exceptional sellers.
Yeah.
But I think it's about finding your lane, building your team, and distributing the IQ and making sure that people aren't wasting their calories, because every second matters.
What's, I guess, a common mistake that you often teach your founders?
Hire slow, fire fast. Don't be in a rush to hire. We're investors in a company called Etched. It's an AI semiconductor chip company. And, one of the things that I've learned over time, and I actually give my kids a lot of credit for this because they helped me get better at it, was not telling founders what to do, but hearing them and challenging them and saying, from my experience, I have seen this. Why do you think this is different? And I'm not saying don't do what you're doing, but help me be more informed so that I can help inform you. Robert said to me, we're going to be like WhatsApp. We're going to be a multi-billion-dollar company with 40 people. And I went, really? And he said, yes. I said, well, that'd be awesome. I'm not really sure I believe that, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think Etch just hired their 250th person.
Wow.
I'm okay being wrong a lot. I mean, I goof around with our founders. I try and make it more fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm wrong all the time. Like, call my wife. Like, I was wrong 3 times today. Like, that's a line I use all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's not about being right. It's about actually accepting that being wrong is okay. And, the hiring process is the only thing that matters. I just, being a founder is lonely. It's terrifying. You wake up and you have a P&L and you got to feed people. You got to have health insurance and take out the whole, I just took millions of dollars from someone I'm supposed to pay it back.
Yeah.
You're asking people to quit their jobs to come work with you and join you on this crazy mission. So for us, it's about, saying to the founders, make sure the people in the room, when you fight, it doesn't blow up the company. You're going to fight. I mean, you have to fight.
Yeah.
The goal is to have non-conventional approaches, or go work for a private equity-based company where it's more traditional. But if you're going to be in venture, it's a slugfest. There's going to be tension. There's going to be tears. It is not nearly as romantic as it looks on Twitter. It's surely not nearly as romantic as it looks like at YC.
Yeah.
But some of that's blissful exuberance. But for us, it's about just making sure that people are doing the things that are perfect. And the perfect thing that you do is hiring the best team.
I remember when I was a founder too, and even at Zypsy, I guess when I was a kid, I've always wanted to do a startup, and I was excited to hire people, grow that team. But I remember the first time I actually hired someone that I didn't know, I was like, wow, their livelihood, they have a family, they have kids, that's on me. And that was a lot of pressure.
Sleep well, baby cakes. I mean, it's just a ton of pressure.
It is a ton of pressure.
But the thing that's interesting, and this is the part where I was apprehensive about becoming a VC. Most VCs don't take that phone call. I'm scared. I'm alone. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And
for us, I know my phone, I feel like I'm like a pediatrician on call. I get calls at 10 o'clock at night that are okay, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
And
wow.
and I'm sorry I'm calling you so much. I'm like, no. That's why I do what I do. That's why Steven does what he does. That's why Glenn does. We are here because we are addition by subtraction. Our goal is to remove friction, fear, paranoia. Almost always the founder knows the answer.
Yeah.
Almost always we just have to ask them, how do you feel about it? And just kind of give them the confidence to make the right decision.
Yeah.
Or just to remember that their words matter. When you're building a team, fixing this looks like a shit show. Saying to somebody, hey, I'm about to give you a big pile of crap to go clean up is a lot different than, if we can fix this, our business takes off. And I believe in you that you can make this great, versus here's a big pile of crap, go scoop it. And I just think a lot of the words matter. And just kind of thinking through that stuff is just really, takes a lot of reps, takes a lot of experience, and takes a lot of Steven was a psychology major in college. These things, there's a lot of interesting nuances to what makes, I think, a really good operator-led venture partner.
Yeah. Wow. Like honestly, like I'm getting ideas, like even on the Zypsy side, like from that too.
It's great.
I don't know if you actually remember this, but I think when I first moved to New York, one of the first like networking events I went to was one of the Oceans ones.
Nice.
And I remember when I went, I was pretty nervous because I was like, oh, I don't really know too many people in the city yet. And I went, and as soon as you saw me, you were super enthusiastic, welcomed me, introduced me to a ton of people. And like, I don't think I ever mentioned it, but like that actually made me feel so much more at ease and like so like welcomed.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of founders would like say that about you. Like you have so much like high energy, enthusiasm, and you're just so kind. So yeah, just on that side, I
appreciate it. I mean, listen, I think, again, it's a scary game. I mean, it's terrifying. But like, I don't ever remember being afraid at Facebook or at any of my other startups. I just remember having fun.
Yeah.
And I know that trust me, I know there were, there was a period at Facebook early where I had gone, let's say like 6 weeks in a row, no sleep. Like just 3 hours a night, 4 hours, because at the time it was like every minute you were asleep, you weren't winning. And I got shingles and I went down, and my team took my phone and my computer and said, "We got you." And that was the first time anybody in my career had ever said, "I have you. I have your back. I believe in you. We need you." And like those moments of taking care of people where I got taken care of, I mean, even my story of showing up at Facebook, I was coached into that job.
What does that mean?
So, well, I'll come back to it, but I think the headline is like, you can never treat people well enough. We live in a world now where like it's a sport to troll. I think those people are fucked. I just don't think that, I think that's a short-term endorphin, like power play. Over time, if you don't take care of people, the mountain gets a lot steeper of success. But the coaching into Facebook, I was at Univision. I helped stand up their mobile division with like 2 or 3 other people. And one of my dotted line bosses was this guy named Tom Eriks. Tom was an unassuming, very, very strong media veteran. And when he left left Univision, I just gravitated to him. And I just said, "Listen, I believe in you. I don't know of this Facebook thing." But you know, he had said that like Tim Armstrong and Ron Conway, who are like legends, helped connect him into the job. And I just said, "Tom, like, I'm coming with you." And he's like, "You've lost your mind." And I'm like, "No, like, I want to work with you." And to his credit, and a guy named Mike Murphy coached me through the interview process extensively. I went for 7 pre-interviews before I went out to go interview with Mark. I mean, and I remember, forget, like I met Mike in like the lobby of the Waldorf, and I met people in like, I was just like, "I will come to you," and they coached me through the journey. And like those moments are like why I do what I do. And like, that's kind of been what made Facebook so successful. We all were like that. I mean, and I'm sincere. Like, I just picked up the phone. I could be on pretty much any continent and call somebody at 2 a.m. and be like, "I need help." And that phone gets picked up and somebody's there. And that just happened through reps and paying it forward and picking people up and giving people opportunity. That's how you build a startup. You answer the call. You don't ghost people. You know, it's just an interesting contrarian approach to like how to build a business that to me seems so foreign that you choose the other path.
Yeah.
But that's, again, I'm wrong a lot. Ask my wife.
I feel like everyone that I've spoken to about you has said such great things. Like Matt Lorenzen, of course. Actually, I reached out to a couple of your podcasts to get some thoughts on, hey, we're having this chat. Do you have anything that would be a good question or story? Asked Fran.
Cold sweat.
Cold sweat. Put you on pressure.
Let me have a beverage.
I was talking to Fran from Hark, and he was like, he has a very interesting story about the car that stays parked at his house out east with all 4 flat tires. What is this?
So I have a 1986 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz that was my dad's car. I learned how to drive in a car 15 feet long. I lost my dad at a young age. That car is unfixable, but it is a reminder to me of where I came from.
Wow.
And reminds me a lot of the relationship I had with my dad. My kids are begging for me to fix it. Begging. It is a non-traditional vehicle, to say the least. But it's one of those things where I have said to my family that if X and Y happens, we fix it. And I bet you to fix that car and rebuild, it's like probably 40 grand. It's a lot of money, but it's more about me setting a milestone about when I get there, that's the celebration. But it's also just a big connective tissue that I have with my dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
it's
that.
An awesome. I'll send you a photo.
Yeah, dude, I got to see that.
She's fucking awesome. I mean, the fact that, I am not of giant stature. That car is humongous. Me driving that car as a kid has to be probably one of the most obnoxious and hilarious things you could have ever seen.
Damn, that's amazing.
Yeah. I love that he brought that up.
I also reached out to Sasha from Ternary.
Yep.
And first of all, he said, Josh is the ultimate sales dude. He could sell ice to Eskimos. He likes the deep stuff. Josh has lived in a few different careers in his past. But he said, ask him about his club days and working in music.
Oh, Sasha. So let's talk about Sasha for a second, because I'll tell you why we invested in Sasha.
Yeah.
Sasha grew up in Queens as an immigrant, Russian immigrant. His dad was a cab driver in the 80s in New York and the 90s. Those guys are gangsters. Those guys used to get shot, those cab drivers. There was no plastic between you and the driver. I remember as a kid, like, oh, cab driver X gets shot, or, it was.
Wow.
And I asked Sasha about that, and he was like, well, you're the first person to really ask me about that. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's what's in you. Sasha's classic founder, like up, plateau, not giving up, some co-founder stuff. He's riding the grinder. But another thing that we talked about was his love of music, and I smiled, and I said, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I used to DJ at the Tunnel as a kid. Now, the Tunnel is like today's Tao or today's Marquee or whatever major, club scene. And I smiled because I was the youngest of six. I am the youngest of six. My dad was married a bunch of times. And, when you're the sixth kid, I have 3 kids, you run out of parenting juice. Like, I was slightly feral. So my mom raised me as a single mom and was working retail probably 60 to 70 hours a week. So I kind of raised myself during the week. She was incredible. I always had food on the table. She was pretty hard on me. I was running a little loose. But on the weekends, I'd go stay with my dad in the city. And my dad was he was a great friend, not the best dad. So he was like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. So, and I got to see you live in New York, you see people with a lot of money with a lot of nice things. And in a world where, you want nice things, you got to go get them. So I started hustling, and I ended up doing promoting in the city, bars and clubs. And it turned out that there was probably a night or two where I worked the door at the Tunnel when Sasha was DJing.
Oh, no way.
And that was an interesting moment where we looked at each other and we're like, so I guess we're doing this, right? And I was like, we're going to do this. But, that's just like that entrepreneurial, there was no clear path to capital. I wanted nice capital. I wanted nice things, and that was a path to it.
Yeah.
And that led me actually further state after my first startup to being in the music industry. I was working for this management firm where, it was chaos. And again, most of my friends from work are my friends for life. And I was just away with 2 of them last week. We were doing A&R at night in the Lower East Side, seeing 4 to 5 bands at night. And then during the day, we were supporting these big acts that were paying the bills. Hall & Oates, Carly Simon. There were no playbooks. It was founder life. It was like, these guys are trying to make more money. Go make us more money.
Yeah.
So we just did everything in the world, including, I ended up driving a tour van up and down the East Coast, and I was on a tour bus for 3 to 4 months.
My God, you're always on the move. That's crazy.
But it was just about seeing things and meeting different people and hearing different stories and seeing the future. And I saw the country before there was the internet and a bus. So it's just like all these things, I think for founders make me relatable because I do the thing that, you know, you go to Harvard, you go to MIT, your parents are like, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer. And then the off-ramp to that is like, I'm going to go to McKinsey, or I'm going to go to the Big Six, or I'm going to go to Goldman. But those are just kicking the can down the road till you figure out what you want to be. I didn't have those paths. So I just had to like figure it out. And I think for founders that don't choose the obvious path, there's a bit of relatability. And that transcends across Glenn, Stephen, and myself as well. I mean, we don't talk about it a lot. I'm a little bit more open with my personal life. But we all come from single moms, and we all come from like divorced youths, and a little bit of street culture and a little bit of hustle. And I think our founders just appreciate it. Because we're not an MBA that, like, no disrespect, coming from a multi-stage fund that's like, I was an MBA and I understand it all. And it's like, okay, we understand things a little bit differently.
Yeah. Wow. I guess on like a personal note, I also relate just separated parents, not going down like the traditional path that they have asked. And I feel like like as you're saying that too, like we have a founder, they met with the VC and they're like, okay, check size matches, valuation matches, you know, industry matches. But the founder told me, he's like, I just don't feel that connection, that founder investor connection. And I think just like hearing you talk about your founders, it seems like they genuinely feel like heard and understood. Like all the goods and the things that they're not proud of, even like you accept and like hear them. That's like the feeling that I get.
Listen, I mean, I think as a whole, early stage, the NPS rating for VCs is not good. It's just not good.
Yeah.
Right. And when we started this, Stephen was just like, I think the bar to actually have a high NPS rating from founders is pretty freaking low, and we're like short people. Like we can jump over that.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't think it's fair to founders, and I think when the going gets tough, you want a VC that's going to like, look, I mean, on behalf of the guy that was raised relatively close to immigrant culture, like it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Like there's some tough love. I mean, Fran's like 6 feet taller than me, and I'll take a couple swings at him, open hand, you know, Central European, not close fist.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, you got to like, no, like what you're saying is wrong. And I'll give you, and I won't tell you I'm wrong by opinion. I'll give you wrong by data. I think the one thing that was great about Facebook for me was that data won all arguments. Like I'd show up to an engineering meeting with an idea. If I went with my gut, I'd get slaughtered. So for me, data became kind of my superpower. Like, or let me phrase that. That was how I got in the room. And then I could have an opinion. And I think, you know, for us, it's about using data and sharing experiences. Like, look, like I hear you. Let me share with you 3 people that said the same thing over the last 20 years. You may be the only one that figures it out, but I want you to go call them and ask them, because it's, again, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to give you points of view that you can help craft your formal structure point. And, you know, if you pull the thread on it, being a parent helps me do that better, and this day job helps me be a better parent.
Yeah. It looks like there's actually a lot of like overlap.
I have founders that are the age of my oldest son now, which is fucking mental. But, you know, the other part about it is that, like, this speed thing, like, there's ageism in tech, and no one talks about that. She's too old. He's too old. Can they grind? Can they do 996? And I'm like, I dare you to go faster than me. Go faster than me, you'll be fine. So for me, it's a bit about maintaining relevance, but also setting the pace.
Wow. It's crazy because I actually had like a bunch of questions. I just like threw that out the window.
Ask him.
I just went through. Yeah. We might have to do a quick bullet round.
Sure.
One of the questions is favorite product right now. Could be a portco. It doesn't have to be
Granola.
a portco. Granola.
Granola is a life. I mean,
I love granola.
They just launched Workspaces. I'm getting excited for collaborative notes.
Yeah.
Look, the promise of AI will happen in baby steps. Right now, it's text. We're getting to the point where it's multimodal. Agents are a thing. They're not really a thing because there's the infrastructure underneath it's not stable enough.
Yeah.
So the hallucinations are making the agents crazy. But we're getting there. Granola is the first one where I'm like, this shit works.
Yeah.
And it like just makes my life better. So on behalf of the speed demon, AI is like the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. So Granola is my go-to. I do have some port codes. You asked me not to use them, but
feel free.
I mean, I use Oasis a bit,
yeah.
or Talktastic. I do think that there's some interesting stuff coming that are in stealth that we use that are really gives me real interest and intrigue. I'm a giant junkie for. I mean, like everybody in our firm has like areas that they're like get excited about. I am at the brink of being giddy for what Meta is doing on the glasses world. Like downright giddy. You find me a founder that wants to build for the future of that, and I will talk to them until they kick me out of the room. I love it. I think it's the future. I think we're within 5 to 10 years of never using a phone again, and that will be the greatest thing that happened. We will reclaim a lot of our focus and time and productivity. Super giddy.
That's one of those things where I remember when I was a kid and Bluetooth was becoming a thing, I'm like, this feels kind of far-fetched, but it just doesn't make sense to have this wire sticking out. And then that's another thing where it's like, it just doesn't make sense to hold something as, you're recording or taking a photo. You're like,
I live 8 blocks from here, okay? Yeah. I'm a schmuck walking around with a phone at a Google map. Like, that is just freaking moronic, right? So, like, just super giddy about spatial, super giddy about multimodal, super energized by what's happening at Etched because I actually think what they're doing helps me even see the future faster. So, like, right now, every AI company that you can hear of is burning venture dollars, like setting them on fire.
Yeah.
They're losing money because the cost of inference is too high. Etched could make it all viable. At which point you start talking about democratizing AI and getting it out of the hands of just the Magnificent Seven and giving companies the ability to build faster. All these agent companies to build faster with higher level of, data clarity. So for me, like just being around them means that I'm around the energy that is the future. So I spend a disproportionate amount of time like hanging out with them, just asking them questions till they kick me out.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it's great.
Who is a VC that you respect and why?
Union Square.
Is there a specific person or in general?
Their brand is consistent. The things that what I like about them, like the things that I really respect, they treat founders great. They're loyal. They are so loyal. Every founder that gets their check knows that they are loyal. They're not a multi-stage fund. They're not building their business to live off of the fees. I mean, when you're a multi-billion-dollar fund, you're not in it for the AUM. I mean, you're in it for the AUM. You're not in it for the carry. That just feels a little off to me, and Union Square is a really good model. Look, they're New York. They're the OGs in New York. Like to me, like they're like 80s rap in New York. Like they're the Beastie Boys. Like they went first. They're KPMD. They do things that people thought were crazy. They built a culture. They're loyal. I don't know. That to me is like, I get down to first principles. Like, do I make money when the founders make money? Do I care about the founders? Like, those are the people I want to hang out with. Roger Ehrenberg at IA was like that. Mike Lazaro at Buddy Media, who then went over to Velvet Sea. Like, these are people that like will get in the weeds with their founders.
Wow. Last question.
Sure.
What is your happiness percentage?
Oh. At work or in life?
Ooh, they're different.
Well, they have to be different.
Okay. Let's say both.
So my happiness percentage, like out of 100%, well, first of all, venture is a startup at this stage for us. So I'm living the same psychotic roller coaster that a founder leads. The highs are really high. They're like 150%. The lows are 50%. I think for me on a given day, I'm happy. I give myself like a 92. But also because I have the gift of being able to do this. Like I really feel like it's an honor to do this. So I do feel really, I mean, and my wife knows it. They're like, oh, here he goes again. Like I'm pretty transparent.
He's pausing the movie again.
Yeah, no, like let's just go. The wait a minute moment for me, the aha, is like a power up in Mario Brothers. It's just like boop boop, and away we go, and that can carry me through a lot of crap. So I give it like a 92. Mm-hmm. On the life stuff, so grateful, so grateful. Nobody in my family had. First of all, I didn't have me as a VC on my bingo card 10 years ago. But I know that my parents had hopes and dreams for me that, my mom's family is first generation, for the most part, very ruddy, hardworking, not blue collar, but like hands in the dirt, owning restaurants, building buildings, like, nobody ever, like I'm a little bit of like, look what he did. And that to me is really important as a sign of respect. I mean, I just went to Croatia. I went and saw where my grandfather was born. And like, wow. I just feel a lot of like legacy stuff. I'm not sure why, but there's just general pride and responsibility of like, so I am incredibly blessed to have an amazing wife and 3 amazing kids. Kids are as hard, if not harder, than any startup I've ever been a part of. So, I think for me, I wake up very, very, very fortunate. We have our health. So, I think I get intense. I get a little paranoid. That's a bit of the fuel. But for me, I wish my life on everybody that I've ever met that I ever cared about. I think it's one of the most amazing journeys. And then the highs are just, I mean, this is the difference between being like a doctor. Like doctor, you're saving lives. I would assume every day you're like feel pretty good about it. But like this is like the peaks and valley side isn't for everybody, but like I really just kind of run past the valleys. Just to me it's just like a tax on the peaks. So that's just how I look at the game of not the game, but like my day to day.
Yeah.
And I also get to work with guys like you. I mean, like honestly, you've seen it. I'm not a designer by any stretch. I love the art of this game, the UX. Like some of the people that inspired me to get closer to guys like you and the team at Zypsy. This gentleman named Jared Morgenstern and Ben Blumenrose and Soleo. Like the UX at Facebook was a bit of our secret weapon. And I don't think people understood. I think they get underappreciated. But watching them create and design and inspire, like tech is tech. UX makes tech magical, right? And like, I just want to be inspired. And we just talked about a founder that we're both working with, and like, if that shit works, holy crap, right? Like, I mean, just think about it. Fast forward 5 years from now, and if they make it, the design side of it is as important as the actual tech. So for me, that's just like super cool.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't notice or it's kind of like glance by. So that definitely means a lot.
Well, people don't understand it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think I put it in an email. Cheap, fast, and great creative does not exist. And you got to pick 2.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Right? So I think that's, you guys are doing your own founder work. And, I go back to Etch just because I'm going out there this week, but like I saw the hardware that they're shipping and the actual shipping container that they're shipping out of. It's hot. Like they've put time into the details. When you open up the unboxing of a rack has never been sexy. Unboxing Etched will be game changing. And I'm like that hits me in the. I mean, they put the right amount of energy into their creative, and that to me is always a good sign that you understand the customer.
Yeah, and that you care.
If you're asking people for money, they better love it when it shows up. That's not, But anyway, that's why I really enjoy working with Zypsy and why I think creative and UX is so important. I just that's a bit of a secret weapon. Yeah. That's why I love working with Create with Play. The guys over there are. Dan is magic. That team is building magic. It's creative, so it takes longer, which requires a whole other kind of investor. But, you know, I don't think AI replaces creative. I think AI makes creatives more creative.
Josh, thanks for taking the time. I know you're super busy.
Yeah,
thanks for being so open, like, you know, talking about all your stories, your journeys, your personal life. You, Oceans, the team, Sarah, always thankful for being able to work together.
She's the secret weapon. Everybody needs a Sarah.
Yeah. 100%.
Everybody. Sarah's our fixer, right? Like she keeps us on, just on the rails. I think when you talk to founders, make sure they have a Sarah. You can be a dreamer, but you need someone to clean up your mess when you're like leaving some crumbs on the floor, because you will.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I'm really grateful for you and grateful for the team, and I'm really proud of Matt and Peter for introducing us. Like they saw the connection, so it's just great to see you guys thriving.
Amazing.
Right,
cool. Thanks as always.
Back on the road.
Back on the road.
Yeah. Thanks.